Hello, this is Tola from Trifold Productions with another Blender quick tip. And in this quick tip, I'm going to show you how you can add urban-based elements or models to a scene by using the Urbanic add-on. It's not free, it's an add-on you have to pay for. And it comes basically in three price ranges. One is free. The free version comes with 4 assets. The light version comes with 90 assets, which is $30. And the Pro version comes with 180 assets, and that's $50. It's not too much on the high side. I'm using the Pro version myself. It's not too high for what it can do and what it has to offer. It renders out in Eevee and in cycles, and obviously cycles is a lot better, a lot more realistic results, especially when it comes to the lights. And it works in Blender 2.8 to 4.2. But the fact of the matter is I've tried it in 2.8 and I've tried it in 2.9 and I've tried it in 3.4, and it doesn't seem to work that well in those versions of Blender, but in 4.1 and above it seems to work fine. I'm using 4.1 myself. Now it comes with 2 folders. One is the add-on itself and the other one is the asset folder. So the installation process is going to be a little bit different. I'll leave a link of it below the video so you guys can download yourselves and check it out. But the installation process, I'll walk you through it right now. So go to Edit, Preferences, Install, navigate to that folder, the add-on folder itself, and click on Install Add-on. And I'm going to type in Urban, and here it is. Now this is where you have to pretty much direct the add-on to where the asset folder is, and for the asset folder you have to unzip that. I've already done that myself, and here it is. But you have to click on models in order for it to access those models. So when you click on this icon of the folder, let me scroll up here, and you come to the Urbanic version 2.42, double click on models and then click on accept, and then it's ready to go. Now it's on the right hand side of the UI of Blender, and it's right here. You've got 2 options to look for the models. Click on search if you want to. I usually just click on this option here, which is this drop down menu, and it gives me all the models at a glance here. Now we're going to click on our cube and delete this. And we're going to just like walk through some of the different models that this has offered. It's pretty much straightforward. It's pretty much a well thought out add-on. I like it myself quite a bit. When we click on that drop down here, let's click on building assets. Left click on that, and when we click on this icon here, it gives us a good number of buildings to choose from. Now you have to keep in mind that with some of the buildings, because they come in different pieces to make the building, the way it's set up is different from a building that comes as a whole. And I'll show you what I mean by this. We want to, stay on our building 1 for now, and click on append. And when it comes in, you'll see it comes with a box. And the reason why it has a box here, this invisible box on the outside of it, is because the building, as I mentioned earlier, comes in different pieces. Left click on that, that's a separate piece. Left click on that, separate piece, separate piece. So in order to move this as a whole, this box has to be selected, and then you can click on the move gizmo and move it as a whole. Now if you click on the building icon again, we go to this building and click on append. Now this building is just one complete model, and you can configure this building in terms of the number of floors, the depth of it, the width, and so on and so forth. This building, not so much. We can't do that with this building. So that's the difference between the buildings when it comes to the models that it has to offer. Let's move this to the side a little bit, and let's just kind of look at the smaller one, because whatever in terms of applying or having lights show up in the building, snow, the wetness of the building, once it applies to one building, it applies to all buildings in your scene. And to make any changes to the lights, let's click on that outer part. You can either click on this little box here, or click to configure scene. So we're going to click on this, And it gives us these options for street lights, building lights, raindrops, wet surfaces, snow, traffic lights, so on and so forth. For our scene at this point in time, the only thing that's going to apply from these options here are the raindrops, building lights, wet surface, and snow. All the others are for the lights on the streets. So let's zoom in here and let's change our viewport to cycle so we can see how the lights look when they're activated. So we're going to click on this icon here, turn from EV to cycles, CPU to GPU, and we're going to reduce our samples from 124 or 1024, left click on that, to 128 because that's all we actually need. And we're going to change our scene itself in terms of like the lighting, because right now it's kind of gray. Left click on the color tab there, move that ribbon or whatever it is, move that up to make it lighter, and click on blue. For myself, I would like to have a blue natural sky. And we're going to click on this icon to change it to cycles. And the Urbanic add-on, the models render, depending on how many models you have in your scene, it renders fairly quickly. So we have our building here, and we want to turn on the lights. And when it comes to these options here, just keep in mind that 0 means off and 1 means on. But with this, it comes with increments in the middle, so you can have different levels of intensity when it comes to especially when it comes to the snow and the wetness. But let's click on lights here. So we're going to click on the lights of the building and press 1 on our keyboard, press enter. And as I mentioned, I just hit my fist on sorry about that, hit my hand on the table. That's why you heard that kind of a knock through the microphone, so my apologies. But keep in mind, whatever changes you've made to one building, like I mentioned earlier, it applies to all the buildings. So once we turned on the lights for this building, the lights for this building also came on, which is pretty nice. But sometimes I would want to have some kind of option to have some kind of variation in terms of the lights for a building, because yeah, as we all know, all the lights for all the buildings in the scene don't come on or stay on all at the same time. Some of them are off and some of them are on when it comes to the buildings. But I guess the developer can kind of change that as time goes on in the future. But for right now, turn on one light for one building, they all come on all the buildings. And let's look at the roof. Right now, there's nothing on the roof. If you want to add snow, once again, 0 is off. Click on the option for snow there, press 1, enter, and now we have snow on the building. And not only on the top of the roof, we have snow on the decorative, I guess this is the awning of the building, on the window sills, on the base of the building, all that, so that looks really nice. And you can change the level of snow. Right now it's at 1. Left click in there again, let's press 0.5, enter. And now the snow is not as much. Now let's look at the wetness also. So if we click on our snow, let's turn the snow off and press 0 on our keyboard. And then for the wetness of the surface, left click in there, press 1, enter. And now as we zoom into the roof, you can see how wet the roof looks. That looks pretty nice, looks pretty realistic. Now for the raindrops, you really can't see the raindrops on models of the roof unless you really zoom in, but you can really see them on barriers. So we're going to pull in a barrier, a street barrier. We're going to click on that option up there. Let's go down to barrier assets, left click on that. Left click in there, let's choose the red one, left click, and click on append. And that's our barrier. Let's left click on that and go to view, frame select, so we can zoom in on our barrier. And we're going to click on this option again to click to configure scene, left click on that. And we're going to activate the raindrops. You can see the raindrops on top of our barrier because as it is right now, there are no raindrops. So left click on raindrops, press 1, enter. And when we zoom in, let's give it a second to render out. You can see that it's got raindrops on top of our barrier. So that is pretty nice. It has a good amount of detail on it to make it look realistic. And your options when it comes to changing the color of some of the elements or models in Blender, you can still do that. If we left click on our barrier there and we go to our material tab, left click on that, we have our assets here have options for changing the color of our barrier. So right now it's red. Let's left click on the red aspect. We can turn it to green, blue, yellow, or pink. So yeah, this does not apply to all models in that the add-on comes with, but with some models it does. So yeah, this is a very, very nice add-on. It's got a lot of models that you can use to create a urbanic cityscape. So this is really nice. And let me do one more. I'm going to do one more just to kind of, expand on this. But let's do traffic lights. Let's see what the traffic lights looks like. Let's click our barrier selector. Let's left click and drag this over. And the last one that we're going to do are the traffic lights. Let's click on, let me see, traffic lights and signs. Left click on that icon and let's click on traffic lights big and append. And it gives us our traffic light here. And when we click on configure scene, what I wanted to show here is how the traffic lights work. Because right now, I'm going to pivot around this, it's yellow. So we want to turn off the yellow, which is down here. This is at 1, press 0, enter. So that's off. And turn on our green, 1, enter. But then you say, well, this is red, it's not green. That's because in reality, or in this life, when one side of the traffic light turns red, that means the other side is green. So if we pivot the traffic lights on this side, it's green. And on this side, it's red. So the developers, they really, paid attention to detail when it comes to how these elements function in the add-on. Yeah, so the Urbanic add-on is a really good add-on, and it does a great job of applying urbanic assets to your scene in Blender fairly easily. And that's today's Blender quick tip. I hope you guys try it out and give it a run through. And remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, adios.